Not one but two starters. Leading scorer Tiffany Hayes will miss a second straight game with the knee injury. And leading rebounder Jessica Breland, who'd started all 32 games, out due to illness. There's some changes to what has otherwise been a stable Dream starting five as the Aces win the tap. And we're underway. Aces, of course, headlined by their three All-Stars, among them A'ja Wilson. And on her first touch, the Aces leading scorer drops it in.
And that's a great sign for Vegas. She's such a great mid-range face-up, and if you drop on her, that's going up, and a lot of times it's going right in.
Aces snapped a three-game losing streak on Saturday in a heart-pounding win over Los Angeles. Los Angeles on Tuesday then beat the Dream in L.A. So the Aces and Aces and Sparks currently tied for third in the league standings.
Well, there's a lot on the line in these last two games for Vegas.
Cambage following her own miss and gets the stick back over Williams.
And it's going to be a long night if Atlanta gives up second chance opportunities to Vegas. They're so big and strong inside.
Cambage was quiet in that win over Los Angeles. Just 8 points, lowest scoring total in almost a month as that pass is thrown away. A run out, McBride has Young alongside her. One Irish to another, back to an Irish. Pretty passing to make it 6-0 Aces.
And Jackie Young with 4.4 assists a game on the season. Keeps her head up in transition. She's always looking to dish. That time she finished it off.
Sykes raises up. Back rim. Rebound Williams. Takes it up strong on Wilson. And Elizabeth Williams, the fifth-year pro from Duke, puts the Dream on the board. Floater by Young doesn't fall. Billings tears down the rebound. Third and final matchup of the season between the Dream and Aces as we take a look at Bill Laimbeer, who has his team poised for a postseason, trying to earn his third WNBA ring. Sykes with the shot clock at 7. Skips to Montgomery for 3. Billings fighting for the rebound with Wilson. It'll stay with Atlanta.
And Atlanta took that shot with Liz Cambage on the ground. I don't quite know if they saw that there was a numbers issue. She was really slow to get up as Dearica Hamby is going to check in the game, and I'd imagine for Cambage to get her out and make sure that she's okay. It's good to see her up. As you mentioned, Andy, getting into this late regular season and postseason, that is a player that needs to be healthy for Las Vegas.
I hope that Cambage is just shaking up. Dearica Hamby, though, leading candidate for WNBA Sixth Woman of the Year. Very little drop-off from an efficiency standpoint when she's on. She's defending Williams, but Williams gets the roll.
And that was over Hamby, so the one thing that Hamby can't control is that she's not 6'8". So that's a great look for Williams, but you're right. The energy from Hamby is just incredible.
Wilson, good again. The All-Star captain, A'ja Wilson, coming off 24 and a season-high 12 rebounds in that win over Los Angeles. All 4 of the Dream's points have been scored by Williams.
And the ball's just sticking a little bit too long for Atlanta. They've got to get it moving around, and Alex Bentley is a little too much dribbling, I think.
And they can create off the bounce, rims that out. Here comes Hamby in transition. And a whistle and a double dribble. Gives it back to the Dream. Nikki Collins' team, like we said, down Hayes and Breland, searching for their first home win since July 12th. But, Amy, when these teams met in Las Vegas on August the 13th, the Dream poured in a season-high tying 90 points. It was in a loss, but they did that against an Aces team that leads the league in defensive rating.
5 players for Atlanta scored in double digits, and they haven't seen that a whole lot this season, so they were certainly feeling it. The problem was they gave up 25 points from the free throw line, and that was a 4-point game.
Now McBride on the trail 3, can't connect. Second in the league in three-point percentage. Dream catch a break, down by 4. Williams coming off 15 and 8 in that loss to Los Angeles Tuesday. At her career high of 22 against the Aces in 2018. Billings, the pump fake, gets Wilson to bite, but it's no good.
And Billings threw that up with a scoop, thought she got some contact. I do like the pump fake and drive. A little more poise on the finish, though, from Billings.
Well, it has been a season-long chore for the Dream to get buckets. Last in the league in scoring, field goal percentage, three-point shooting. The bucket there by Jackie Young, the number 1 pick. And it stretches the Aces' lead to 6. Family gets a cinder block screen from Williams, but it was an illegal one. Foul on Elizabeth Williams is her first, team's first.
And that's a tough call against Elizabeth Williams, who didn't understand it. I thought she was planted. It was a really hard hit, but I will tell you, Andy, good screens are hard hits.
Yeah, not every screen that results in a collision means it's illegal. And you were a veteran of setting some of those big-time screens.
Yeah, the worst thing, though, I'll say, is when the guard leaves early. It's a pet peeve. Give me a second. I'm going to get you wide open, but just give me a half second to get there.
Montgomery. Amby sagged off for Montgomery, thought about pulling the trigger. Renee Montgomery has come on of late, almost 16 points per game her last 3 contests. Fed the post to Billings and draws the foul. Foul is on Jackie Young. Amy, as we take a look at your Las Vegas keys.
Yeah, turn up the defensive intensity. That's something that Las Vegas has talked about. They dropped 3 on the road and just had a big win at home against Vegas. But they said if we're going to win a championship, we've got to turn it up on the defensive end. Second one, pound the ball inside. Vegas leads the entire WNBA, just under 38 points per game in the paint. And that's how you open up some nice outside scores, as Williams shows us a little bit about pounding in the paint. That's a nice read with her back to the basket.
Nice power, and then the finesse by Williams, who's got 6 early. All 6 of the Dreams' points. Now it's Hamby working in the post down Billings. Great straight-up defense by Billings, and she forces the travel.
I love the decision for Vegas to recognize the post position of Hamby. But wow, Monique Billings straight up and really held her ground in there as well. So without Cambage in the game, I'm still loving the red action in the key here. Back-to-back possessions inside.
Billings, the second-year pro from UCLA, making her second career start. Twirling, ducking on Wilson, but can't finish. Showing no fear against the all-star Asia Wilson.
Well, you can't. You absolutely cannot.
And Young turns on the Jets the other end. This is a Vegas team that plays at the fastest pace in the league. So you got to get back. Might take Asorla, the rookie from Oregon. Slips it underneath to Williams. She sneaks free and lays it in.
That's just such a big part of Atlanta's success when Elizabeth Williams is on the move. That time, just backdoor cutting, defense had their head turned.
What has been a tough year for the Dream, Nikki Collin has loved the development and maturation of a rookie. Might take Asorla. Rebound to Billings.
And you hear Nikki Collin, go, go, go. She wants her team to run and push with pace.
Next whistle sends us to a timeout. Asorla missed the reverse. Williams cleans it up. Digs that shoulder in on Wilson. Talk about exerting your will. Elizabeth Williams, a strong start. She's got all 10 of Atlanta's points.
And definitely feels a bit of that ownership with Breland out, her starting.
Oh, she gave up the offensive rebound, though, to McBride there. So McBride gets the bucket. Gives the Aces the 4-point lead. And on the dribble drive by Billings, a foul called. And it takes us to our first timeout. Just underway here in Atlanta. Aces up by 4. I know we still have 3:23 to play in the first quarter. Liz Cambage has the WNBA single-game scoring record, but Elizabeth Williams already has 10. She's on pace, Amy, as we take a look at your dream keys to the game.
Yeah, the early work inside. It's not necessarily stopping Elizabeth Cambage and Asia Wilson when they get the ball 2 feet from the basket, but it's dictating where they catch the ball and trying to challenge them and make their shots a little bit tougher. The second one on the offensive end, utilizing the pick and roll, trying to get mismatches they want, and when they get, there she is demonstrating, Elizabeth Williams moving and her feet going, they're really effective. Her season average is 9 points per game. You just said she already has 10. I'd say so far it's a good night for Elizabeth Williams.
Dream began playing without a pair of starters in Jessica Breland and Tiffany Hayes. Monique Billings, 79% foul shooter, rims her first attempt off. Second round pick last year by the Dream.
Just having a great second year, just really embracing that role off the bench. Extremely athletic post player, and I think just the experience from last year and then the opportunities this year, she's really starting to navigate this league. She almost jumps the passing lane for an easy 2.
Liz Cambage is checked back in after she was shaken up in the opening minutes. Wilson rejected by Williams.
Oh, yes. four-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year in college. I had to read it 2 or 3 times. And not the tallest, but it's that. It's her peripheral vision, her athleticism, and her timing.
That's your gasp from some here at State Farm Arena. A'ja Wilson bought 150 tickets to the game through her foundation, chartered a couple of buses, and she certainly has a hometown contingent from Columbia, South Carolina, rooting her on.
Williams doesn't get the block, but got that stop, which turned into that big bucket for Sykes. Nice to see her hit because she's been slumping offensively as of late.
And Sykes, the third-year pro from Syracuse, knots this game up. And Sykes only 25% from 3 this year. Here's Cambage stepping right through. That's too easy.
Yeah, split the 2 defenders inside. That's a tough charge to take, Andy.
I wouldn't want to take it.
No, it's a nice finish, though. You see the hands on Cambage. She's got great touch around the rim.
Certainly in line for another all-WNBA distinction. Pass is batted by Young. Young's got a 3-on-1. Threads the needle to McBride. Second time they've tagged up in transition, just as pretty the second time.
Yeah, I love watching her because her head is always up. It's so important in that point guard position and decision making, and it's certainly on point for Young.
Jackie Young leads all WNBA rookies in assists. She's been overshadowed a lot by the likes of Nafisa Collier and Arike Gunbowale, and those two going down to the stretch for League Rookie of the Year. But Young has sneakily put together a solid rookie season.
And she's had incredible pieces around her. She hasn't tried to steal the show.
Wow.
Speaking of stealing the show, Brittany Sykes elevates and gets that to drop over Cambage.
She strapped a rocket to her shoes. The pin down to Cambage.
Yeah, and then right back the other way in the poise of the Aces just to run in transition and get Cambage running to the rim.
Liz Cambage only went 3 of 12 in that win over Los Angeles as that pass was deflected by Young. Big win for the Aces, who are now tied at 20 and 12 with the Sparks for third place. Marie Gulich gets her first action, the second-year pro.
Well, you see Atlanta trying to reverse that ball quickly, though, and that's important for them. When that ball sticks, their offense doesn't run as smoothly at all.
Floater by Montgomery gets the roll.
Andy, keep your eyes on Marie Gulich. Had her first career double-double, 15 and 12 against Vegas last time, as you see the 2 bigs battling.
Up and under around Gulich, scoring and 1.
It was interesting. You saw Gulich get bumped in transition and kind of started rolling her eyes. Andy, you knew she was going to get a shot up on that play and got the best of Gulich, but there's the look there. The ability to elevate for Brittany Sykes. She's incredible. She's one of the top athletes in the league. And Atlanta probably needed a bit more consistency from her this season. But when she's on fire like that, you can't stop her. I'd say maybe Diamond DeShields matches her athleticism.
Meanwhile, the 3-point play by Cambage, and it gives the Aces the 5-point lead. Final minute of our first quarter. A floater by Montgomery was blocked, and it stays with Atlanta. Cambage, 9 early points. Already has surpassed her point total from the other night. Young comes out. Sugar Rogers checks in for the first time for Las Vegas. 2-man game, and that pass overcooked to Gulich.
Yeah, I thought Renee off a curl screen. That's her shot. She gets her feet set. I thought it was a great roll from Gulich. Not on the same page as 2 offensive players for Atlanta.
Much better start for Bill Laimbeer's crew. Their last 2 games, they trailed by 7 and 14 points at the end of 1. Now they have the lead of 7. The finish by Hamby. And the Aces shooting 63% in our opening quarter.
Well, this has got to be a business trip for them. They have to say, we've got to hit the road and take care of business.
And 6 of their last 8 games closed the regular season on the road. Trying to secure one of those buys for the playoffs. The touch pass to Gulich, who finishes off the dish from Sykes. Final seconds of the quarter. Plum pushes, pulls up, and it's an air ball. End of the first quarter at State Farm Arena. Liz Cambage paving the way with 9 aces, up by 5. Aces lead by 5 through 1, but Amy, that last Dream bucket worth another look.
Yeah, and this is about the pick and roll. It was a nice screen by Gulic and then action, quick reversal and movement. The Atlanta doesn't have a 6'8", 6'7", space eater back to the basket. Their bigs have got to move. That's great execution for the Dream.
Dream shot 50% in the opening quarter as Sykes gets hit. Aces 63%. And Brittany Sykes heads to the line. Something Bill Laimbeer discussed with us before the game. He says, we want to make Atlanta have to make shots and not send them to the line. That was on Rogers, her first.
And Sykes, over the last 4 games, a total of 15 points. And she's one of those players that averages 10 a game, and they probably needed a couple more from her a game. And so that's important for her, not only to attack, but to hit shots and make free throws.
Yeah, misses both there. But Brittany Sykes might be in the top 3 of the league from a pure athleticism standpoint. In the 2 earlier matchups against Las Vegas, Sykes poured in 15 points in each. It seems like the pace and the style that the Aces play really suits her game as Gulic knocks one down.
But back to your point, yes, she can rip and go in transition, and her first step is tough for anybody to stop in this league, and I think sometimes Atlanta just needs to do the simple things, and a rip and go from the wing. I mean, that's pretty simple.
Hamby got the ISO on Gulic. She pokes it out. Epiphany Prince is also on the floor, the newest acquisition for the Aces. 10th-year pro from Rutgers, the 2-time All-Star. As the Aces opted to sign somebody for their final roster spot for the postseason. And Prince brings a lot of veteran experience, not to mention her familiarity with Bill Laimbeer from their days in New York.
I thought it was a perfect fit for them, and what a time to bring her in. Yeah, coming off a knee surgery, but man, did she ever come out and perform in her first look at Vegas in front of a great crowd, too. That was fun to watch.
At 10 points in her first game in the WNBA since July of last year. Take a look at that kickball on the delivery from Montgomery. Cazorla maneuvers around the screen. Can't get that around Cambage.
Looked like Cazorla was going to start drifting side, knowing Cambage was on her.
She either heard the footsteps or saw the shadow. Prince off the mark from 3, and Coates with the inside position. Atlanta Coates, the former number 2 pick. And Coates lost the handle there on the handoff from Sykes.
And that's where Atlanta has struggled. You see the intention, you see what they were trying to do, which would have been nice, but sometimes it's just making the simple read, right? If that's a one-on-one take or pulling it out or letting Coates get to the rim and post up or finding some flow to the game.
Hamby the spin and the scoop, no good. Dream trail by 3. On the pick and roll, easy pickings for the Aces, but tipped away back. Coates, Cazorla trying to rescue it. It comes to Plum instead. And now the Aces have numbers. The no-look Hamby striding in. The tip by Plum, no good. Loose. And we will jump it as the Aces had a couple of cracks in transition go awry.
And same for Atlanta. A lot of Butterfingers right now on the court. Someone just wants to retain possession of that rock.
So he emerges from the scrum to jump this. It'll be Cazorla for the Dream and Hamby for the Aces. Hamby, by the way, 23 and a season-high 16 boards when these teams met last month.
Now, she's been fantastic this season. She's stepped up when A'ja Wilson missed those 8 games. Las Vegas still went 6-2. Hamby filled that role and scored almost 6 more points than her average and almost 4 more rebounds than her average. So she was given the opportunity and stepped up to the plate.
I believe Brittany Sykes just got a delay of game warning. Tap handled by Prince. Wilson. Challenged well by Glulis, but contacted a foul.
A'ja Wilson is such a fun player to watch, especially on the offensive end, because she knows how to square up and read the defense. And she's just so athletic. I hope all young post players out there watch her footwork and watch her make reads. She's one of the best players in the league to do it.
Now her third double-double of the season in that win over Los Angeles. She's also second in the league in free throw attempts as Bentley and Williams return to the lineup.
I'd say one of top 5 in personalities, too. She's so funny, always smiling, always dancing. It's hard not to like her. I get when you're playing against her for 40 minutes, she might not be your favorite person, but...
Yeah, they like her so much in Columbia, South Carolina. They're planning to build a statue of her outside Colonial Life Arena where the Gamecocks play. A well-deserved honor at that for someone who's still on the right side of their 20s. Coach, the offensive rebound, Wilson's former teammate at South Carolina, will head to the line.
And Nikki Collins frustrated because I thought Elizabeth Williams made a great screen, roll to the hoop. I thought she got bumped, and I think Nikki Collins' argument is if you're going to call it on the other end, give it to us. But nonetheless, you see a little bit of contact up top there, but great follow from Coates, and she'll get the 2.
Foul's the second on Hamby. Coach signed by the Dream and Nikki Collins, July the 18th. Coach entered the league as the number 2 pick of the Sky. Started this season with Minnesota.
They really brought her in to rebound. And, you know, you look at her minutes, and sometimes they're a little inconsistent, but I think they also use her in a mismatch position when she can get out there and bang with the bigs. And she's throwing herself around, and she's fun to watch inside as well. Plays with a lot of energy.
I can promise you she does not need a scouting report on A'ja Wilson.
No.
Hamby swatted by Williams. Enter at your own risk with Elizabeth Williams.
And a great rim run by Coates, I have to say.
Bentley ducks in, long on the jumper. Kelsey Plum coming off 20 points, and she went off in the fourth quarter against Los Angeles with 17. Rims out that jumper.
And that was big time. She was fun to watch, made great reads, and tremendous amount of energy, got the crowd into it.
All stays with Atlanta as McBride comes in for Las Vegas. Jisoo Park makes her first appearance off Bill Laimbeer's bench.
The Ace is getting rotations in and out very quick tonight, Andy. It seems that they just want to find the lineup to give them a flow and extend this game. They want to win it and hit the road to Phoenix. But Atlanta, they keep hitting shots like that. It's going to be a tougher night for Vegas than maybe they anticipated.
2-point game. Park blocked again by Williams. Ricochet comes to Park. Fresh possession for the Aces. Plum rains one down. Kelsey Plum, 36% from three-point range. And she had that clutch bucket in the closing seconds in their matchup last month versus the Dream. Gave them a 4-point edge, and it was a lead they would ultimately not relinquish.
Well, when you score over 3,500 points in college, you have to be respected.
Williams fighting after her own miss. She'll head to the line. Plucked that right over the top of Plum. Now, I'll say this about Atlanta, and it doesn't always correlate when a team struggles to score, Amy, but this is still an active and good offensive rebounding team.
Yeah, Elizabeth Williams, she doesn't get enough credit, and a lot of that is because of the record of Atlanta. But her activity this year, and she is constantly undersized in the post. So you have to think they need her to be active on offense, setting screens above the three, rolling to the rim. And then on the other end of the court, she's guarding the biggest player all the time, trying to box them out, trying to play the footwork game. She doesn't get breaks, and she also leads the team in minutes, so she actually literally doesn't get breaks.
She scored the Dream's first 10 points, now has a dozen. As that foul whistled on Cazorla, her first. Second of the quarter. Plum double teamed. Tries to loop it to Wilson, but overshot her.
That was a great defensive stop for Atlanta, throwing the trap and picking the ball up on the backside.
Give it away right back. Plum, one-on-one with Montgomery. Takes the hit and lays it in. Third-year pro from Washington, doing some swerving and scoring in the open floor. Aces by 5. Montgomery off the pick and roll. Wilson whips it across to Cazorla for three. And Williams' kick out was broken up with a foul called as we head to timeout. Aces still lead by 5. Welcome back to Atlanta. The Dream had played all season without their 6-time All-WNBA player, Angel McCoughtry, down a couple of starters tonight. It's made for a lot of juggling from head coach Nikki Collin. Earlier, Amy caught up with the Dream head coach about how she's managed
All right,
the roster.
Coach, it hasn't been an easy season for you. You have not had 12 available players, one game this entire season, and tonight you're shorthanded again. Both Tiffany and Jessica ruled out. What are some of the unsung attributes that they bring to this team, aside from the scoring and rebounding, that you really miss?
Yeah, I mean, playing shorthanded is tough. In general, the league has done that this year. I mean, with Breland, you have a player that understands this league, that makes shots. She had a great game against Vegas the last time. Tiffany's just the player that we play through and play to. And so not having your go-to player always makes everybody else step up a little bit more.
Yeah, Nikki Collin, last year's WNBA Coach of the Year. It's not like she forgot how to coach this season, but sometimes you lose as much the intangibles as tangibles when certain players come out of the lineup, and it's been a difficult balancing act for the Dream head coach this year.
It certainly has, and I'll tell you, I know we talk a lot about Angel not being available, but she's been on the roster the whole year, and so there's only been 11 players available, and they haven't been able to bring someone else or try something new, and that's been tough too, I think.
Nice rim run, the drop off. Williams swatted again by Wilson. That's back-to-back blocks for Asia. And none shall pass.
Yeah.
Now she is 4th in the league in blocks. Cambage back in. Nick Coffey handles the inbound, former member of the Aces. Acquired by the Dream in a 3-team trade back in the spring. Shot clock at 4. Cazorla has to heave. Gets it on the rim. Well, it's back tapped out to Young. This is the best defensive rebounding team in the WNBA, thanks in large part to Cambage and Wilson. I think it's the foul on Billings in the post.
Yeah, I mean, they're both athletic. They both got great hands, and they're both big. So, of course, they should rebound the ball a lot. Getting them, their chemistry and developing that throughout the season, I think it's been a little bit scary for everybody else in the league because they're so dominant at their positions.
Cambage and Wilson have both missed time this season for various reasons. But at full strength and bearing down toward the postseason. Cazorla well off the mark. Coffey to the floor. And off the scramble it comes to Plum. She's got Wilson trailing. Oh, the Euro step by Plum. She can't finish. Wilson cleans it up. And a foul called on the floor. That would have been queued up for your highlight reel viewing had Plum finished.
And you know what? Scorers, they know how to find the basket. Again, she hasn't been scoring a lot. Her shooting's been up and down this season. She's still going to find a way to get close. You look at that and just the craftiness, and she's still extremely exciting to watch. And so when she has a fourth quarter like she did with those 17 points their last game at home, everyone else goes on notice a bit because they say, uh-oh, you add that to this lineup.
Cambage blocked by Wilson. Elizabeth Williams has been active protecting the rim as well.
Yeah, she stood in front and kind of just put her hands up.
Quick catch and shoot, McBride. And Megan Buckets delivers to give the Aces the 9-point lead. McBride coming off her third All-Star game appearance. And we asked Bill Laimbeer, how has Kayla McBride grown from last season when she was also named an All-Star? And I don't think the question left our lips. Coach Laimbeer said defense. She's committed to it now. Gulich for 3. And remember Marie Gulich coming out of nowhere at Mandalay last month against the Aces.
Yeah, 15 points, 12 rebounds. That's one of the reasons why Atlanta wanted Gulich so badly, because she can stretch the floor. She can hit that shot, and she really pulls Wilson away from the hoop defensively.
Wilson the rebound, striding in, lays it up, no. Got a late challenge from Coffey. Dream down 6. Bentley slips it to Williams. Elizabeth Williams' season high was 17. She's got 14, and the deficit's cut to 4.
Good things happen when the bigs run to the rim in transition.
And fouls on Gulich. And this matchup features a lot of athletic posts who can run rim to rim. Foul on Gulich is her 3rd of the half. Timeout on the floor. Aces up by 4. Andy Demetra and Amy Audibert as we welcome you back to Atlanta. Both teams have settled in defensively in the second quarter. Aces shooting 4 of 18. Dream 4 of 15. And it's currently the Aces on top by 4. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. At the conclusion of our game on CBS Sports Network, Los Angeles trying to keep pace with Las Vegas for that 3rd seed in the playoffs. They play host to Seattle. And then Sunday, final day of the regular season, Los Angeles back at home taking on a surprise Lynx team for a 4 p.m. tip.
A'ja Wilson at the free throw line again. Tell you, she's the 4th fastest player in the league to reach 1,000 career points. And she did it in 53 games. Elena Deladon did it in 52. Simone Augustus in 46. And, of course, Cynthia Cooper in 45. So she's right there. You look at the names, and I don't have a crystal ball, but A'ja Wilson's going to have an incredible career in the WNBA.
Already has the makings of one. She's got 8. Coates in deep. Challenging on Cambage. And out of bounds. It belongs with Atlanta, 8 to shoot.
Well, this is the grit of the dream. They've got nothing to lose at this point, right? They know their season's done in a couple afternoons from now at home, but continuing to challenge and fight for those second, third chance opportunities.
The dump down, Coates blocked from behind by Cambage. It is a Cambage rampage for that Aces defense.
I like it, Andy.
Is the trademark office still open? We'll worry about that at the show.
the Cambage rampage.
Might be coming to a playoff bracket near you.
I was going to say, if that's the playoff story, get your popcorn ready.
And we talk about Las Vegas and Los Angeles tied for 3rd place right now in the standings at 20 and 12. The Sparks have the tiebreaker because even though they and Las Vegas split their 4 regular season meetings, the next tiebreaker goes to point differential in the head-to-head as Williams fills the lane. And in that case, the Sparks currently own the tiebreaker. But let's not forget about Chicago. The Sky have 2 tough games remaining in the regular season, but they're only 1 game back of Los Angeles and Las Vegas.
Yeah, Chicago's got to go to Connecticut and Washington. But, I mean, crazier things have happened, right? Chicago's really good, too. So, excited for the next week and really for the next month.
Pass was thrown away as Bentley was in deep. Turnover is the Dream's 10th of the half. Since the outset of the season, we have talked about the parity in the league this year. It's almost unprecedented. And we've seen nothing during these 32-plus regular season games to suggest that it won't be every bit as wide open in the postseason. As Cambage was draped across, foul called. That's going on Coates.
And Cambage is so tough. You spend all your energy trying to force her up the lane a little bit. That's a really nice pass, but you've got to get under her and box out for that second chance opportunity if you're lucky enough that she misses the first one. Like I said, your energy's already halfway depleted. Easier said than done, but that's why she's one of the biggest inside threats in this league.
She has 11 points to lead the Aces. And an 0 for 2 trip. Montgomery, quick trigger. I think she was trying to get a foul. Was off balance shooting that 3.
Yeah, that's the vet just trying to make a play. And that's a fine.
Oh, the inbound stolen by Young, but an offensive foul on Tamara Young. I think she cleared away Bentley, and that was the whistle. Trying to pick off that inbounds pass.
Yeah, see what happened here. You saw her left arm kind of with the clear, and Young probably doesn't think it was enough to force Bentley to the ground. Nonetheless, for Atlanta, it's a good break because one possession here, 5 seconds between the score clock and game clock.
Williams clearly wanted to hang on to that pass. Sykes, 4-3. Second triple of the half for Brittany Sykes. Aces up by 5. Here's Young, the leaner, blocked by Williams. And that'll do it for the first half. Young can't squeeze off that in time. It was a 5-point Aces lead at the end of 1. It's a 5-point Aces lead at the end of 2. Elizabeth Williams has been doing it on both ends. Mashed, though, by Liz Cambage. 13 for Cambage, 16 for Williams. We'll have the highlights, the breakdown, and much more. Stick with us for our halftime coverage from Atlanta after this. Before we start our second half in Atlanta, let's check out our first half highlights between the Aces and Dream in their third and final matchup of the regular season. Aces once again got off to another hot start. How about the give and go between a pair of Fighting Irish in transition, Young to Kayla McBride. And no, that's not a replay. That is a different play. Same result. Of course, Liz Cambage asserting herself underneath, coming off 8 points in that win over Los Angeles. Cambage, 13 points and 6 of 9 shooting in the first half. You could defend her all types of ways, but she is still hard to stop. As Gulich tried unsuccessfully her luck against Cambage. In that first half, the Aces shot 42%, 1 of 6 from 3. Only got to the free throw line 7 times. That's often an area where they can have a huge disparity with their opponent. And then Kelsey Plum out in the open floor following her 20 points and late-game shot-making heroics against the Sparks. Plum came off the bench and contributed 7 for Bill Laimbeer for the Atlanta Dream. Good ball rotation. None better than this play. And Sykes threaded the needle, Marie Gulich. Gulich once again on the pick and pop. Her career high was set last month versus the Aces in Las Vegas. Showing all facets of her game and her ability to score at all 3 levels. But I know, Amy, you really liked the distribution led by Renee Montgomery and that Dream backcourt. Good ball rotation, leading to buckets, leading to assisted baskets.
Yeah, and you look at all these highlights, and it's off of movement. And no one's standing around and just hitting open shots. They're moving. They're working for their shots. They're reading the defense, and they're making smart decisions. As Cazorla once again finds easy in the lane. I mean, she has been fantastic tonight. But, Andy, you know what? I'm going to challenge you with this. The entire season, it seems like we've seen some really good stretches for Atlanta. This third quarter here is going to be big time because we've seen them at times come out pretty flat after that halftime break.
Dream trailed by as many as 9 in that first half. Elizabeth Williams, 16 points in 16 first half minutes. She was responsible for the Dream's first 10. And at 16, 1 shy of her season high of 17, which she set 3 times. And her career high, 22, set last year versus the Aces. And we know the Dream had to labor through that 12-game losing streak earlier in the season, 7-25. That's last in the WNBA. But still, so many players you're seeing tonight were part of that roster that took Washington to a 5th game in the conference finals. And with this being the last week of the regular season, you know Nikki Pride has challenged the professional pride of her players over these last 2 games.
Well, characteristics of teams often stem from the mentality of their head coach. This head coach is not giving up. She's not a throw-in-the-towel type of person, so you would not expect anything less from her available players. You see the way they played in that first half, diving for loose balls, challenging on the rebounding on the glass. I'd expect to see that in the second half.
They out-rebounded the best rebounding team in the league in that first half. Dream basketball to begin our third quarter. Montgomery wraps around the screen. McBride trails her. Shot clock at 2. Sykes with a hand in her face. Her third 3 of the night.
Poise as the shot clock's running down. Still smart decisions to finish that possession off.
Wilson with a step in the lay-in. Asia Wilson. I think she brought half her hometown with her to State Farm Arena. That gives her double digits with 10.
It's got to be like deja vu, right? When they get to come see that live again. I don't know if they get out to Vegas too much, but what an opportunity for her fans.
And Columbia, South Carolina, only about a 3.5-hour drive, give or take. And that ball last off the rim and last off the Dream.
Dearica Hamby getting the start in this half over Cambage, but of course, Cambage running up to the score table to check in.
Williams hits the deck, clears the lane for Wilson.
It's slow to get up as well. Wilson's footwork in the post is just so automatic, and it's pretty to watch. It's a thing of art for basketball junkies.
Manley with the shake and the slip to Williams and a late whistle. Will send her to the line. Fouls on Hamby. Maggie Connell's team in pursuit of its first win at home since July the 12th versus Minnesota.
They've challenged so many, though, Andy. So many games have been close in late or fourth quarter leads.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's no disguising a 12-game losing streak. Bill Laimbeer has had very few, if any, of those in his distinguished WNBA coaching career. But if you dive deeper into that 12-game skid the Dream had, in 8 of those 12 games, including their matchup at Las Vegas, the Dream were leading in the fourth quarter. There's a difference between a 12-game losing streak where you're getting blown out every night. That was far from the case with Atlanta. Sykes in stride and in transition.
You know, Andy, last year with the 23-11 record, you already mentioned they returned most of that core. Everything went right for them in those close games. This year, nothing's going right for them in those close games in the fourth quarter. And so Nikki Collin believes that things are going to even out for them at some point, probably next season. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see a more competitive team next year in terms of wins and losses.
And last year, the Dream were perfect, 11-0 in games decided by 5 or less. Gulich puts it on the floor, dishes, and the jumper rattles halfway down and out by Williams. Elizabeth Williams has tied her season high with 17 points. Ace is up by 5. They continue to pound the post in Wilson. Hammered away on Williams, and the fadeaway falls.
Yeah, that turnaround, Nikki Collin wanted to travel, but that turnaround, and it's just so automatic, creates space. Her release is impeccable, keeps it high.
Bentley cutting through, draws the foul. Lead back out to 7 as we take a look at that pass. Bentley to Sykes.
And that's Vegas. They got to send somebody back, right? When you start thinking about the playoffs and the postseason, it's tweaking those little things, having that player back. I know Atlanta wants to run, and they had that reputation for leaking out in transition, but what are they going to do? What is Vegas going to do when they see Washington maybe in the playoffs, who likes to get up and down and leak out as well? You've got to have that top defender back.
Chicago as well. A jumper by Bentley. Chased down by Young, but she can't save it. So Jisoo Park sub in for Bill Laimbeer, giving Cambage a breather. Behind the back dish, Montgomery has the screen from Williams. McBride tried to fight through it, and a foul be called, and it is on McBride.
And you see Vegas on that possession get really physical on the pick and roll attempt because it's been so good for Atlanta in the first half. They're trying to disrupt it, force not quite the flow out of that look that Atlanta has gotten in the first half. And that's a great way to disrupt a flow. You just play tough defense and force a 5-second call. That's a bad turnover for Atlanta.
Yeah, great way to disrupt the flow is not allowing your opponent to get the ball in bounds.
Yeah, that's the other way to do it, right? No screen and roll attempt on that possession.
Young threads the needle. The finish, no, by Wilson. Offensive rebound, Park. Young sizes up Sykes and can't get the friendly bounce. Still a 7-point game. Bentley might be a candidate to get going. Here's Gulich for three, and she drains it.
Looked like Atlanta was jumbling that ball around a couple times that possession, but Nikki Collin talked about them dropping 90 in Vegas was because their first, second, third actions were good and they were quick. That possession, whether they meant to do that or not, they were good and quick.
If Marie Gulich were in charge of the Dream scheduling, she would schedule the Aces for all 34 games.
Who says that?
Marie Gulich,
Yeah,
obviously, at
yeah.
15 last month, a career high, and she's got 10 following that three. The three by Bentley is short, tracked down by Young.
You're right, but you know what? Because she has that ability to hit that three, she does become sometimes a mismatch nightmare in terms of the bigs are usually guarding her. They don't want to defend on the three-point line.
Wilson again fading away. Just poetry in motion by A'ja Wilson.
And so many times it's from the mid-post. Again, that's a tough spot for bigs to defend. Their back's not to the basket. They're not all the way out where they're expecting too much help. Mid-post, it's a tough defensive spot.
Wilson up to 16. The pull-up three by Montgomery. Oh, the Dream getting hot from deep. Now 6 of 13. Montgomery cashes in to make it a three-point game. Dream is a team shooting less than 30% from three this year. Bentley tries to pick McBride's pocket, undercuts her, and the foul called on Bentley.
And Bentley didn't like it, but I do believe that was the right call as well. It's not really anything you falter for because it's a hustle play as she dove for the ball, but body got underneath.
And it brings us to a timeout here in Atlanta. A'ja Wilson already with 8 in the quarter, helping keep the Dream at arm's length. 52-49 Las Vegas as we welcome you back to State Farm Arena. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Second game of our doubleheader on CBS Sports Network features the Storm at the Sparks. And then Sunday to close down the regular season on ESPN2, it's the Lynx and the Sparks. We were talking before the broadcast. Cheryl Reeve of Minnesota, strong candidate for WNBA Coach of the Year. And this whole season without Maya Moore and for most of it without Simone Augustus still has the Lynx in playoff position.
And GM, too, because she somehow convinced Odyssey Sims to come from L.A. to Minnesota. I mean, the management there has been incredible. The coaching has been great this year in the league, and I'm really excited to see the final decisions on some of these awards. Because as much parity as there's been in the games, there certainly has been in things when you talk about Coach of the Year and in some of the other awards as well. So many candidates that are rightful to get it.
A'ja Wilson, 1 of 2 trip at the line. I think Elena Deladon, clubhouse leader for league MVP, but the most hotly contested league award in my mind is still Rookie of the Year. Are you in the Arike Egunbowale camp or the Nafisa Collier camp? Sharply divided opinions to those who follow the league.
Yeah, I mean, what Arike has done in the past month has been nothing short of incredible to watch and spectacular, but Nafisa, the consistency and the tools that she's done it around, some of the all-stars that she plays with, fantastic. And Jackie Young, I mean, Tierra McCowan's having a great year. Of course, I know it's between the top two there, but some great rookies. Maite Cazorla, not a flashy season for Atlanta, but she's done some pretty great things, and I'm excited to see her future here for the Dream.
Sykes trying to pick Young's pocket. A foul instead on Sykes. It was herself one of the top vote getters for Rookie of the Year 3 years ago. I think Collier has been so consistent throughout the season, and the fact so much was thrust on her shoulders after Maya Moore decided to take her sabbatical, after Simone Augustus underwent the knee surgery.
Yeah,
because it looked for a time entering the season like the Lynx's streak of consecutive playoff appearances would be in jeopardy, and Collier has over-delivered.
And it's not just points and rebounds, but assists, steals, blocks. She does a little bit of everything.
Young finesses that home. And a technical foul called on Nikki Collin. The Aces lead up to 6. Not quite sure what agitated the Dream's head coach.
It was interesting because the top official was communicating to her. It almost sounded like she was saying, I got you, coach, or whateve it was. Maybe a 3-second call. I'm not sure. But top official was speaking to coach. Bottom official teed her up.
Now Plum, an 89% free throw shooter, can convert the technical foul shot. Stays a 6-point Dream deficit. Dream with 3 in double figures. Cazorla brings it across on Plum. Montgomery, whom we spotlighted in the open, has been quiet offensively tonight. Here she is on Plum. Threads the needle to Williams, and she was blocked by Park. Late whistle.
Well, quiet, Andy, but 5 points, 5 assists. So she's done a great job distributing the ball. Again, it goes back to that leadership and extension of the coaching staff on the floor. And Renee Montgomery, if she can have that type of consistency, that's really important for Atlanta.
Dallas Park's third, team's fourth. And Williams has just set her season high with 18. Knew she'd have to carry a heavy workload. With Jessica Breland missing her first game of the season due to illness. Well, when you're facing the likes of this Las Vegas front court, you want to have every big body you got. Williams has handled the extra responsibility well.
Well, I think it speaks to the character, right? Again, Atlanta knows their season's over in a couple more days, and this is a tough, maybe painful game inside for the Bigs, guarding Vegas.
Tamri Young, her first basket. 12th-year pro, and of course the 8th overall pick of the Dream in 2008 remains the answer to the trivia question, who was the first pick in Atlanta Dream history? Well, here we are, and she is still playing and getting buckets.
I love the decision they've made to put her in the starting lineup, because the biggest question right now for Vegas going into the postseason is just their lack of experience. And so they've put someone who is a great defender, by the way, and they talk about they want defensive intensity, and then that intangible. Tamri Young has 477 minutes in the playoff experience. Playoff experience in terms of minutes. The rest of the team combined, 381. You can't measure that on paper, Andy. It's important.
Probably another reason why Bill Laimbeer signed Epiphany Prince last week. Williams terminates her dribble. Gets it away to Billings. Cazorla measures up the screen. Shot clock at 5. Williams falling away on Park and a foul called.
Bill Laimbeer's up. He didn't like it. I thought Jisoo Park did a great job of trying to step up, but definitely contact in the lower body. I think Bill Laimbeer is saying, hey, if my bigs are fouling, it's going to be a little tougher than that, but makes the wise decision to walk away and sit back down.
Did you think, though, that Williams dribbled into Park, that she initiated?
Yeah, there definitely was contact. I didn't think it... getting to the playoffs, I like that as a no call myself, but I think Elizabeth Williams is also being credited for her hustle tonight.
Have to reset the shot clock to 12 after Billings corralled the offensive rebound. Monique Billings, top 5 in the league in offensive rebounding percentage. She really flies to the glass.
She utilizes her athleticism, but when you're an undersized post player and you can get offensive rebounds, you also have great timing. You have a great knack for the ball. You track it. You know where it's going. Dennis Rodman.
One of Bill Laimbeer's former teammates with the Pistons. He'll appreciate that analog. In and out on Billings' shot. Monique Billings has missed all 7 of her field goal attempts, making her second career start. Aces maintained the 5-point lead. Here's Plum. No good. Montgomery down the shoot to Williams. Fans out to Cazorla for 3. And she can't get it on the rim. Great passing. Cazorla, well, she was a 39% three-point shooter this past season at Oregon. And that is one that she's shaking her head at.
Yeah, and because I thought it was a great pass, and that's a rhythm pass, a rhythm catch. And I know Atlanta's been criticized in that they take a lot of threes and don't make a lot, but that's a good shot. That's not one you turn down.
Hamby won't turn down that three. That's off the mark. Aces 1 of 8 from downtown. And again, the dream just not going away, Amy. Sykes. Another offensive rebound, Billings. Williams challenged by Wilson. Oh, meeting in the high rent district. A'ja Wilson with her 5th block. The pull-up 3 by Plum. Would have been a 5-point swing for the Aces. Instead, we approach a minute in the 3rd quarter. Still a 5-point lead. We've seen some acrobatic blocks tonight, Amy.
Yeah, it's been a party down low. And 3 of the top shot blockers in the league between Cambage, Williams, and Wilson. You'd expect to see a couple, but wow.
Montgomery open and down the well. 2-point game as Montgomery drops in her 2nd 3. The entry to Wilson. 4-second differential, shot clock to game clock. Dream have not led tonight. They've trailed by as many as 9. Montgomery shields on Plum.
And here comes Easy up for the ball screen. Waiting, looked at the clock, tried to get that timing set right.
Sykes slipped as she caught that pass. And Billings was unable to get the shot off in time. Shot clock violation. And the Aces can hold for the final shot. Yeah. Prince in for Plum.
Sykes wanted the foul call. She's so athletic. She was so high in the air on that when she came down, she fell so hard. Atlanta, you certainly want to lock down and get this stop because you don't, like you said, Andy, they've stuck around. They've played a pretty tough 3rd quarter. You do not want Vegas to have any kind of momentum going into the 4th.
Looks like the load, a little extra time for the Aces to work with. 4.7. Was 4.1. Inbound Young. Splits the defense. Rejected by Williams. Elizabeth Williams has been a flat-out animal around the rim for the Dream. We head to the 4th quarter at State Farm Arena. Last place Atlanta not going anywhere. They trail by 2, 57-55. Las Vegas on top. Stick around. We'll be right back. Start of the 4th quarter. Elizabeth Williams stoic on the court, Amy, but she has been blocking shots with a fury tonight.
Oh, my gosh. Jack Armstrong would say, get that garbage out of here from Toronto Raptors. That's his line, not mine, but that's all I keep thinking about. They are authoritative. Speaking of authoritative.
And one for Dearica Hamby. She pinned Billings in deep.
And now I wonder if it was Williams on her, if she's turning after you see some of those highlights. Dearica Hamby averaged 22 and 11 her senior year for Wake Forest in the ACC, and that's leading that conference in 2 stats. She's an incredible player.
Oh, Gulich overran the rebound. Hamby almost saved it. And Dearica Hamby, who was recruited to Wake Forest by Atlanta Dream assistant Mike Peterson.
And you ask him, and he's obviously respects and loves her game, but just personality, character.
Montgomery for 3, no good. Williams had the ball raked out of her hands by Wilson. McBride sets the feet, range the 3, no good.
Atlanta got lucky because somebody's got to pick her up in transition. A little miscommunication defensively, and while Gulich doesn't want to with the mismatch, someone's got to get a hand in the shooter's face.
Backdoor feed to Sykes. She gets the roll. Then it's a 2-point game. Brittany Sykes up to 15 points. Tell you what, Amy, there are a lot of teams near the top of the league standings watching this 4th quarter intently. Colson, the pick and pop 3. That's off the mark. Ace is 1 of 11 from 3. Dream, worst shooting three-point team in the league, 7 of 18.
You know what, Andy? We've talked to all the coaches during the season, and they all tell us the same thing, and I don't think it's just being nice. They say, Atlanta is not what their record shows. Nobody wants to come and play them and think they're not going to be challenged or they're not going to win a game. They're going to challenge you the entire game. They're going to get a little bit gritty, and if they hit shots, you're in a little bit of trouble. And so I think maybe there's a couple people cheering for the Dream tonight, especially like you said, the LAs, the Chicagos of the world.
Aces and Sparks tied for third place right now at 20-12, and the Sky lurking 1 game back. The dribble drive by Colson, and she's fouled. First action we've seen from Sydney Colson tonight, the 6th-year pro from Texas A&M. Bill Laimbeer begins the 4th quarter with the number of his reserves. Foul is the 5th on Gulich. And that could come into play here. Gulich, double-digit scorer tonight with 10 points. For an already depleted Dream front court.
And Sydney Colson spent a couple years. She spent a couple years at Rice as an assistant coach. I love that because when you're coaching, you see the game in a different light. And so even that take and challenging a big inside and finding a little gap in the lane, and Sydney Colson draws the contact. And I'd love to know more about her experience as an assistant and just seeing those things from a different perspective and then getting the opportunity to come show them off on the pro levels.
Well, coaches all love having a coach on the floor. Often they mean that figuratively. It's literally in the case of Colson.
She also has the best pregame chant.
Oh, no question. How about Gulich? And 1. And a chance for the Dream to tie.
As Wilson's going to get back in the game because look at the take. They talk about versatility for a big at 6'5". She can hit the 3. You already mentioned the 3 levels of scoring we've seen. Well, that's another one. Driving to the hoop, finishing strong. Bigs like to play against bigs. They like to feel the contact.
Gulich averaging only 3 points per game this year. Last month in Las Vegas, she canned 15. She misses the free throw. She still has 12. It's still a 1-point Aces edge. Clinging to this lead, which they've held throughout. Montgomery pestering Colson. Here's Wilson. Usually that is the money spot for Asia. Montgomery for 3. And Williams had her off arm held by Wilson, a foul called.
Yeah, if you're Atlanta, you kind of heard the bench to our right here. Wanted that one to fall. It was a great pass right into the shooter's pocket. But again, because of the hustle, they get a second chance opportunity here.
Sykes off the flare screen. Dumps it down to Williams, rejected by Wilson. That's 7 blocks for A'ja Wilson. Gulich was stripped. And out in the open floor from Colson. She turns on the Jets on Sykes and gets the foul. We've talked so much about Elizabeth Williams and her blocks. A'ja Wilson now has matched her career high. That is 7 for the All-Star.
And should have got credit because Gulich tried to pump fake on the fumble. Didn't want her to get rejected in the same manner. This is a great take from Colson, extending the ball, trying to get the and 1 on it. And Brittany Sykes just takes the hard foul.
Sykes is second, team's third. Billings reports in, replacing Williams. Certainly not the last you'll see of Elizabeth Williams. 27 and 6 blocks for the 5-year veteran Elizabeth Williams.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's a quick break, but understanding this game's close towards the end, they can give her a quick breather here.
Still a 1-possession game. Fourth quarters have been a source of endless frustration for the Dream. As we said, in that 12-game losing streak they suffered earlier this season, they led in the fourth quarter in 8 of those, including at Las Vegas. A foul on Colson. Which puts Las Vegas out of fouls to give.
And trying to chase over the screen against Montgomery because she's such a good 3-point shooter.
You know, many times in these fourth quarters, the Dream have been daydreaming about having Angel McCoughtry on the floor.
Andy, we talked about those close games, and she certainly would have got you a bucket, but hey, Alex Bentley found a bucket. She loves the dribble, 1 foot fadeaway. I'd say that's probably her most consistent shot, which for most people is not an easy one.
We've laughed all season long. She has a higher shooting percentage when the shots are contested.
Yeah, she makes the hard ones.
Colson for 3. No good. Billings swoops in for the rebound. And is this the possession where the Dream take the lead? Bentley had 15 first-half points the other night in Los Angeles, was scoreless after halftime. Sykes slashes, had it knocked out of her hands by Colson. It deflects off McBride. Dream to retain. Bill Laimbeer thought otherwise.
We may have thought that either went off on Atlanta or kickball. That was pretty good defense. You see them closing the lane without actually stunting in and leaving a shooter open.
Looked like that was off the left shin. Gulich short. She was open from the elbow. Dream trying to pen perhaps a signature win of the season. In a season that has again been endlessly exasperating. Still a 1-point Vegas lead. Zeiss clutches on McBride. Pulls up. And another rebound chased down by McBride.
And that's the right read, though. McBride went under the screen. That's a nice rise and fire look for Sykes.
Wilson has the mismatch on Montgomery. In and out.
Hey, if you're going to go cold, it makes it a lot more entertaining if the other team's going cold, too.
Gulich diving through and lays it in. Dream take the lead. 14 for Gulich. And the game is on in Atlanta.
And Bill Laimbeer, in these crucial minutes, playing without Liz Cambage. And you wonder if it's just trying to get her some rest because they're going to need her on the court.
Well, 4:54 remaining here from State Farm Arena. Don't go anywhere. It's a 1-point Dream lead. Dream have their first lead of the night, and Amy, the Aces might have to persevere without Liz Cambage. She was subbed out at the 7:15 mark of the third quarter, and now has her left ankle, maybe Achilles, wrapped in ice.
Yeah, it does look like her Achilles, and she's had some Achilles issues this season coming into it. And you look at what she means to this team, 3-time All-Star, shooting just under 50% from the field. She is imperative to their postseason success. I think Atlanta feels that they can match up. Oh, okay, here we go, another one. Vegas feels like they can match up with the athleticism column of Atlanta, and so maybe a good opportunity for them to say, you know what, Liz, ice up, we're not risking anything.
Yeah, when she came out, she didn't go down in a heap, so whatever bothered her, from her body language, it seemed benign at the time. There's a foul on the Aces and Rogers.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't look like it was anything abrupt. It happened very quietly, but I certainly appreciate them making sure that she remains healthy through the remainder of the season.
That foul puts the Aces over the limit. Renee Montgomery to the line, where she's made 22 of her last 24. Atlanta trailed by 9 in the first half.
And how about this, Renee? We talk about her three-point shooting. She's had 143 made threes now after her 2 tonight for Atlanta. She's only, which is third all-time in franchise history. She's only played here 2 seasons. She's a shooter. Shoot.
3-point Dream lead. Young finds a hole, slips it down to Wilson. Ripped out of her hands by Billings. Had a hard time corralling that pass on the run, and Billings was there for the take, and the pull-up 3 by Montgomery. And the lead suddenly 6 for the Dream. And Montgomery is now pulled even with Maya Moore for 11th all-time in career threes in league history. He's given the Dream their largest lead. Young Up and good. And even though, Amy, the Aces are playing without Cambage, if you read some of the articles online, people who have studied the data, they've determined that the Aces are more efficient offensively when it's Dearica Hamby who's out defending Elizabeth Williams and some combination of Cambage or Wilson, rather than both Cambage and Wilson on the floor at the same time. Another tough bucket, this time from Bentley.
Yeah, Hamby's had an incredible season. She's been willing to step up and play any role necessary, and I think she adds that dimension of just a quicker pick and pop. You certainly guard her at the three. Cambage can also hit a three.
Sykes draws the foul, trying to tunnel through a screen and push the Dream over the limit. Aces just 60% at the foul line tonight, 9 of 15. Hamby drills the first. In line, perhaps, for WNBA's 6th Woman of the Year. An Atlanta native. Nearby Norcross. 1 of 2 trip. I said at the top of the broadcast, this was a battle of pride versus seed. Atlanta team last in the league in the standings. Aces team trying to secure a top 4 seed and thus a bye for the WNBA playoffs. They might be on the ropes. Young with a tough shot. No nerves from the rookie.
And I mean, read the screen. Elizabeth Williams sagged a little bit. That's automatic pull-up jumper. She hasn't, as the number 1 pick, stolen the show, but it's because of who she's surrounded with. She's fit into this system beautifully.
You didn't get drafted first overall because you're shy.
No, and to have the composure to still sit down and do that.
Bentley with the ISO. Shot clock at 2. Jacks the 3 and hits. A knockdown from downtown and a big one from Bentley. 6-point game again. And a travel on Plum because of some suffocating defense from Bentley. It takes us to a timeout. And what a turnaround for the Dream. 73-67. Stay with us. Dream have outscored the Aces 18-10 in the fourth quarter, searching for their first win at home since July 12th, and it's a 6-point lead. Alex Bentley. There is a reason why they have called her Big Shot Bentley.
And you know what? When the shot clock's winding down and Alex Bentley has the ball in her hands, there's only one place it's going, and that's up. And so Vegas, while they were trying to make a read out of the screen, you got to be present and not even allow her to get that shot up. She's not looking to pass it at that moment.
Dream have had to rally tonight without Tiffany Hayes or Jessica Breland, 2 starters out with injury and illness. They've gotten contributions across the board. Elizabeth Williams, a season-high 20 points. Bentley was trying to find her on the pick and roll, and the pass was kicked. Meanwhile, the Aces playing and have played since the 7:15 mark of the third quarter without Liz Cambage, who's got 15 points tonight. Has her left ankle wrapped in ice at the edge of the Vegas bench.
And I think where she would be so important in this fourth quarter is that Vegas can find a shot from her. She's so dominant. She can post up on anyone, and if you're going to hack her, she can make free throws. And so gives you that incredible option to control the pace and tempo of the game.
The reverse was blocked, but Billings called for a foul. It sends Young to the line. It's Billings' second. Interesting stat line for Monique Billings as you see her. And a Young attack in the closeout. Billings is 0 of 8 from the floor, Amy, but she has 13 rebounds.
That's been her biggest margin of improvement in her sophomore season. And you looked at it, I thought she shuffled her feet great, and she tried to utilize her length, but got caught up in the arms a little bit with Jackie Young.
7 points, 8 assists for the rookie from Notre Dame. Makes it a 4-point game. Vegas, the best defensive rating in the WNBA, and they will need to bunker down over the final minute 43. Bentley hounded by Young. Wilson went for the tip. It's recovered by Billings. Leads some time off the shot clock. Montgomery hedging and slipping through the screen, a foul called. And again, both teams are over the limit, so it'll send Montgomery to the line.
Well, and there was 7 seconds on the shot clock left, and Atlanta was initiating an offense almost halfway to half court, and so Vegas had a pretty nice defensive possession until that little breakdown right there.
Montgomery, 24 for her last 26.
And you know what, Andy? I always, close games come down to a couple things: free throws and rebounds. Picking up the easy ones from the line, but then also securing that ball.
Montgomery bears down, splits the pair. 17 from A'ja Wilson, and she throws away the inbound pass.
And what a decision from the Dream coaching staff to put a long, athletic player on the ball, and that's exactly why you do it. You take away the vision, you force a pass. And there you go. WNBA current reigning coach of the year for another couple weeks at least, right?
Timeout, Nicki Collen. Speaking of the reigning WNBA coach of the year, we'll keep it here with 1:31 to go. A long season that has been filled with late game disappointments for Nicki Collen and the Dream. Can they author a different ending tonight in their second to last game of the regular season? We know what's at stake as well for the Aces. 20-12, tied with Los Angeles, which takes on Seattle after the conclusion of our game. LA has the tiebreaker in the standings. The Sky, 1 game back, entering tonight's play for that 4th and final bye in the WNBA playoffs. It is crowded at the top, not much breathing room, and surely the Aces know it as they stare at the scoreboard.
And that third spot is crucial. And it's no offense to Connecticut, but no one wants to see Washington until the very end with the way they're playing.
Montgomery in traffic. Acrobatic shot. Corralled by Williams. Shot clock did not reset. Dream have out rebounded the Aces by 13 tonight. Billings, the blow by on Wilson.
Athlete. She is garnering attention in terms of her athleticism in the post as Vegas gets it down the other end quickly. They're going to have to score quick.
Inside of a minute. Dream led by as many as 5 in the fourth quarter when these teams clashed in Vegas last month, trying to hang on to a lead that they did not hold until the fourth quarter. There's a turnover. 2-on-1. Young with Hamby alongside her. And Sykes tried to get the strip. It's whistled for the foul to her disbelief. Nicki Collen and the Dream bench pleading it urgently for a jump ball. And it looked like there was some contact.
Yeah, you know what? I understand that the reaction or what you're looking at is a lot of hands on the ball, but there's a body bump first and a reach around too. I think Jackie Young actually did a nice job of keeping that ball to her left side and forcing Sykes to reach through, and it's a big bump.
So Young back to the line, 81% this year. Oh, had she made them both, it would have been a one-possession game. Still time for the Aces. Third-team All-American, #1 pick. Makes it a 76-72 Dream lead. And time called. This is a full timeout. Charge to Atlanta. Is there enough in the tank for Elizabeth Williams? She's been firing all cylinders tonight. 20 points, a new season high, and also 7 blocks, tying a career high.
Tremendous efforts on both ends of the court. And Andy, is there enough in the tank? That's rhetorical. At this point, 41 seconds left. It's mental. She's a vet. She's going to dig deep and try to find some impacts. Look at the movement, though. I can't stress that enough. You look at what is required from her on the defensive end and how exhausting it is. And then for her to have that much activity, that was an offensive rebound on that last look. That's a lot of effort. You hope there's some electrolytes in the Gatorade and a good stretch after, because she certainly has exerted herself tonight. Close to a triple-double.
Well, tonight, the Dream have the home court advantage, but the Aces had the rest advantage. Remember, they hadn't played since Saturday when they beat Los Angeles. The Dream played Tuesday night in Los Angeles. And in that game, Williams poured in 15 points and 8 rebounds. 28 and 7 blocks for the fifth-year pro. And she helped will the Dream to an upset over the Aces. Elaine Beer put some length on Bentley with Young. Pass was deflected. There's that length. It causes a steal. Williams in pursuit with the block. It was clean. It stays with the Aces. But Elizabeth Williams, not a moment too soon as Young hits the deck hard.
Career high. And you hope Young's okay, but I gotta do it again. Jack Armstrong, get that garbage out of here. Look at the track of the ball, the arm, the extension, the timing.
Well, right now, you see Young down, and she tried to brace her fall with her right arm.
And her head whacked the backboard, and so that's...
They were going to review this play at the monitor to see if there was anything worthy of a flagrant, but boy, that was a crash landing by the 12th-year pro Tamara Young, who got the steal out high on Bentley to force that transition. That's 2 turnovers now the Aces have caused around midcourt against this Dream backcourt. Without Liz Cambage, as we noted, has not played since the 7:15 mark of the third with her left ankle encased in ice.
Yeah, and I mean, tough for her to watch these last couple minutes, but she also has to know how important it is for her to be healthy and ready to go towards the end as Young gets up. A very good sign for the Aces. You do not want to see her get hurt. We talked about what she brings to the team and her veteran and her athleticism and her ability to guard.
See her holding her right wrist.
Yeah.
And remember, she has the most playoff experience of anyone on this Aces roster. You hope that if her right wrist is feeling numb, that'll subside and it's back to business. It was a clean block.
It was dirty. It was dirty. And
yes.
Clean in a very dirty way. That was a block. and you know what's crazy about it is Williams started behind Young and out-sprinted her just enough to get her hand on the ball. You asked if there's anything left in the tank.
Epiphany Prince takes the place of Young. Prince played her second game for the Aces after being signed last week. Her career high was set versus the Dream back in 2012. And Bill Laimbeer has a lot of trust in her long-range shooting, which the Aces might need here over the final 27 seconds. Lofted out to Plum. Bentley with a strip, recovered by Wilson, and a foul from behind as Montgomery was trying to knife that free.
Yeah, the first action defensively for Atlanta was great, the tip on the ball, but unfortunately for them, the ball ends up in Asia Wilson's hands out of all people.
Montgomery's second foul, Wilson 5 of 6 at the line tonight. And that sequence took less than 4 seconds off the clock, Amy. That worked out in the Aces' favor. Maite Cazorla comes in for her ball handling and free throw shooting. Colson grabs Prince for a defense for offense swap. $18 for the All-Star. Knocks them both. 2-point game. Bentley tight ropes the baseline. Tossles into forecourt, and a foul called.
And Renee Montgomery did a great job of screening off Kelsey Plum, in that full court advantage or that full court pressure allowed Alex Bentley to get down the court like that. And so that was the right foul for Vegas, knowing that they didn't get that quick stop or quick tip or deflection, having to take the foul as Alex Bentley hits the first one.
Bentley is the one the Dream won at the line, 86%. Chance to make it a 2-possession game. And she does. Timeout, Aces. And how do you account for the absence, by the way, of Tiffany Hayes and Jessica Breland with Bentley's 2 free throws? How about 5 dream players in double figures? And Bentley has also added a season-high 8 assists.
Yeah, everybody else stepping up. Even Elena Coates going in there and grabbing 10 boards. Gulic has had a solid night. I mean, everyone has contributed, and that's what you have to do when your best player isn't playing for you. And you know what, Atlanta, their best player technically is Angel McCoughtry, right? And so everyone else has to do a little bit more, and you're seeing it tonight.
Still time for the Aces as they look to get primed for a playoff run.
And
even the vendors are getting into it tonight at State Farm.
Oh, why not? This is a great ball game. But, you know, the Aces, they were picked by the GMs at the beginning of this year to win the whole thing. So they got some pressure on them going into this. I thought it was interesting. The order went Vegas to win. Number 2 was Phoenix. And then 3 was a tie between Los Angeles and Washington.
Well, it just shows even 34 games in the regular season, we don't know what we're about to step into come playoff time.
Yeah, and it's been one of those seasons, right? Phoenix just getting into the playoffs, and Washington picked 3rd is running through everybody.
Aces, by the way, the best three-point shooting team in the league, 37.6%. McBride, number 21, who's in the top left corner of your screen, 2nd in the league in three-point percentage. Plum wrapping around the screen. Tough shot. It's an air ball and tapped last by Atlanta.
Like the aggression from Kelsey Plum, though, getting to the rim. She can score the ball at an incredible rate, as we know from her college career. And so that's a nice look for the Aces.
And we'll check not only for the time, but the deflection. See if it stays Vegas basketball.
Yeah, you saw a lot of blue jerseys, though, get around that. And again, it's not one-on-one defense. It's that second, third rotation. A bit of a mismatch, a tough guard for Billings. And so you see the recovery as well. That's a tough one. It looked like maybe Hamby had deflected it, but I didn't see the backside, so it could have been Montgomery. Pretty big call here, I'd say, Andy. So you appreciate them taking the time to look at it and get it right. See here again.
Williams from the help side was gunning for her 9th block of the game.
And on that look, it looks like Montgomery came in and kind of pushed the ball out of bounds with the trajectory of the ball.
Well, if you are looking to trace the reasons why the Aces are staring at a 4-point deficit against the team with the worst record in the WNBA, Las Vegas, like we noted moments ago, Amy, tops in the league, 37% as a team from 3. They are 1 of 13 from behind the line tonight.
Yeah,
they need a 3 right now.
They haven't been able to find a whole lot of rhythm offensively, and the best three-point shot attempts are off kickouts or in transition. They're rhythm shots. They just haven't found them tonight.
Prince having trouble inbounding. Lobs it up to McBride. Tears that down from Montgomery. Steps into the 3. Grabs her own rebound. Now Prince sidesteps. No good on the 3. Rebound to Billings. And the Dream can dribble out the clock.
What a signature win for Atlanta at home. They've been waiting all season to gut one of those out, Andy.